Hi everyone, welcome to Tony Fox Tarot. Thanks for joining me today and great to have you with me. So today we're looking at pregnancy and when that's going to happen. When will you become pregnant? We're going to break that down by looking at what's going on for you in your world. Now, what are your circumstances? Are they supportive to have a child now, or is this something that you're planning for into the future? What's going on for you personally? Are you in a relationship? Are you on your own? Do you feel you even need to be with somebody to have a child? Security and finances and support with friends and family, your professional aims. How does this all fit into the picture? And what's driving this idea of having a child? Is this an instinctual thing that has to be now, or is this something that you're happy with later on, tomorrow, or into the further future? We're going to forecast a timeline of when this is actually going to happen. So we're going to pin down specifically when you will become pregnant. And we're going to look at what that pregnancy is going to be like. So is it going to be a happy pregnancy, a challenging one? Is it going to be a home birth, in a clinical setting like a hospital or a birthing center? And for some of you, even we're going to look further ahead and timeline how many kids you're going to have in total. So lots to get through. And before we do get started, if you would like to go down below and hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon while you're there. And please like and share this video where you can. If you are interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Now, before you on the screen, we've got 4 different piles of cards. And the idea is to choose a pile that resonates with you really strongly. Perfectly fine to choose more than one pile if it comes through clearly for you. And remember, this is a general reading, so just take what resonates and leave behind anything that doesn't. So we've got pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. Taking a moment to be with the cards, drawing in a nice deep breath. Allowing your instincts, your inner voice, the energy of the cards to guide you. Which of these piles comes through for you the strongest? Is it pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, or pile 4? Down below, there are 4 different timestamps representing each of these different piles. If you would like to go to the one that you've chosen, I'll see you in a moment. Hi everyone, welcome to card 1. This is your reading and we're looking at pregnancy and when that's going to happen. So let's jump on in and have a look. We've got some cards on the table ready to do the reading. And I feel like you're in a relationship with somebody. I feel like this relationship has some water under the bridge in as much as there's quite a strong bond here. You've gotten to know each other very well. Up here at Temperance and the 9 of Cups. And I feel, this person and yourself, it's quite an easygoing relationship in some ways. Very strong bond, get along really well. The thing is, it's not perfect. I think there's been problems. And at the same time, the two of you are able to resolve things to a large degree where, it's more good than it is bad. But at the same time, there's something not quite right. I kind of feel this person does give a lot. They are there for you. They are very supportive, but I don't really feel like they're telling you the whole picture in terms of what's going on for them and their experience of being with you, and also what is it that they really want in terms of their aims and objectives within the relationship. I think you're down here at Strength and Queen of Pentacles, you're a really strong, nurturing type, very protective. You're the primary carer. I think you jump in at the deep end with people and situations and circumstances. You're quite refined in your focus. You're very resourceful. You are hands-on and you have this ability to steer things in a direction to make them all good. I think you are a very loving, very professionally minded person. I think you're all about the idea of a future to have kids. I don't think that that's about having kids now. I don't get a sense that there's a maternal instinct kicking around here that wants to do this today. I think you're very much about planning for the future and figuring out what is required to map out the relationship, map out the circumstances at a financial and material level, and how to make everything roll, practically speaking. I think you're very good at all of that. I think for me, I feel like you're the center of the home. I feel like you are the nurturing ground. You are the visionary in terms of what is possible to have within the relationship, but also to have as a life together. I really feel like you anchor this relationship. And I wouldn't say that that's just this relationship. I think that's the kind of person that you are. I think you are somebody who burns very brightly in terms of making things happen at a really core level. You're kind of hitting all of the notes for me. Some people are a bit more one-dimensional in as much as they complement a relationship, but you anchor a relationship. You've got a lot going on there, because I think that you have quite a sophisticated and mature outlook, and you know what is required to make these things happen in a very practical sense. So a lot going on here for me. And this is more about a relationship first than it is about when you're getting pregnant just for the moment. I feel like there's been some upsets within the relationship over here at the Lovers and the Five of Cups. I feel like there's been like a number of things that have happened with this other person that have really kind of just, they operate on a very emotional level. Like, I kind of feel like this person can be quite passive aggressive, actually. I don't think that they're always telling you what they really think or what they really feel. I think they tend to cover things up in a way that's quite secretive, and I think that there's a lot of people pleaser going on in this person. I think they tend to want you to feel good, they want to tell you what you want to hear in a way that just keeps the peace. I don't think they're very good at confronting their feelings. I don't think they're very good at confronting issues that might upset themselves, might upset other people. They don't like confrontation. I get that this is somebody who just likes to keep the peace. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to upset the apple cart. Problem with that is that if there is an issue and they might make a sound around that issue, that they don't like what's going on, for example, you have a conversation with them and they'll be very quick to kind of, resolve it in a way that doesn't really get to the core of what they want or what they don't like or how it is that they really feel. So there's a lot of covering up going on there, and you think that everything's back to balance, everything's okay, and then all of a sudden this issue will come up again, and they might not be very direct about it. I think that there's a tendency to maybe be a little bit passive aggressive about certain problems. I feel like that's how things have been rolling with this person. There are certain issues that keep on coming up where you think you know where you stand, and all of a sudden you get this soundbite that kind of takes you back to where it was that, where things weren't okay. And you get a sense that, this person's not fully on board. And I think that might be really difficult for you because, you are very focused, very practical, very holistic in your approach to making sure that everything is in place in a way that keeps it on track. You're the one that's steering the direction here. And so when you get somebody in a relationship who becomes difficult to manage in that sense, and it becomes emotional, a little bit slippery, it leads to a kind of disappointing and really frustrating outcome. And I think for you down here at Chariot and the Seven of Swords, I think you're kind of wanting to push this forward, and the idea of having a child and getting things on track as far as your material, financial, maybe your professional, goals and objectives are concerned. It's like, you're all guns blazing, push to get it to that direction. You think you're on board with this relationship. You think that they're happy. And then all of a sudden, they make another sort of sound or a gesture or a comment or even a potential conversation that actually indicates that they're actually not where you thought they were. And it kind of throws you off in a way where you think, oh God, this is really difficult to manage. And I think it's happened one too many times now for you to kind of dismiss. And so there is this ongoing hesitancy. You're kind of pushing forward at the same time. You're very cautious because you just don't know what this person really thinks and feels deep down. And this is very difficult. And I think that this person's not telling you what it is that you, how it is that they really feel. My sense is that they've been very agreeable to this idea about having children, having a family. I think that they do really love you. I think that there is a heartfelt connection here, and I think that it's quite a serious bond. But I'm going to be honest with you, I don't feel that this person really is on board with the idea of having children. I feel that this person really wants the relationship just to be about the two of you. I think that they're telling you a lot of what you want to hear. I think they're just kind of going with the flow in a way where they're too frightened to really confront the topic of conversation that really gets to the heart of what's most important to you. And every time you get to that particular place, they shy away from being really truthful and honest, and they are too frightened to lose you, and they don't want that to happen. You are very important to them in a way where they fear that if they disappoint you, that the relationship will be over. Now, I know this might sound a little bit tough on one level, but at the same time, where is this going? Because this is time, effort, energy, and heartfelt engagement on a level that, can really disappoint you if this person is not going to deliver on what you really want in terms of your future, to have children and to really live the life that you're very much right at the heart of managing into manifestation. I feel like this person is going to let you down. I feel like when the reality hits, when it gets to the real break point of having to get real about having a child, this person is going to say no, okay? And I think it's going to be really, really confronting for the both of you, because I think that the reality is that they're going to realize that this is not what they want. This is not the direction that they want to go in. And that will mean that it will be the end of the relationship, because they know that this is very important to you. I think that the thing for me here is that it's not about selfishness. It's not about that they're not wanting to take something away from you. They're not wanting to lose you, but they're wanting to be with you because they really love you, but they don't want to let you down. And so they're kind of just hoping for the best by just really going with the flow at more of an emotional level. And for me, it's kind of like a hope and a prayer, like just wishing that, it will actually work out for the best, hoping that it will work out for the best, and not really thinking this through in a way that recognizes the true nature of who it is that you are. So in some ways, they're just not getting you, but they're also not being honest with themselves in a way that actually meets you at a level so you can have a discussion to kind of move forward. And I think there's really good reason for that, because I think that you are very set in terms of what you want for the future with having kids. I feel like you'll get to a point down here with the moon and the Six of Cups. I feel like you get to a point where, the uncertainty of a future without getting what you want in terms of having children with this person will be really, really difficult. I think that you're preferring not to go there in some ways. I think you've already had a hint of it. I think you've got a feeling that this is not going in a good direction, but at the same time, you're trying to steer it in the direction that you want, hoping that you've gotten this wrong. I feel that, that you'll only be able to glaze over it for so long, okay? But my sense is that this person's going to really be confronted with the issue one way or the other, because it's building towards this direction of having a child and, building a life to support that. And, they're not going to be able to get away with it for much longer. So my feeling is that over the coming 6 months, that this person is going to, be forced to recognize their position, forced to fess up, and tell you where they really stand. And I feel that you will get to a point where it's like, this is not what I want. This is not where I'm going. And I'm just, I'm just indulging this person. I'm indulging myself, and that this is not the right direction. My sense is that beyond this relationship, that is where a child lies for you. I feel that within 9 to 12 months, okay, out of this relationship, you're meeting somebody new. There is somebody else on the peripheral, and I don't feel like it will be too much of a kind of like a wait period or too much of a lapse between this relationship and the next relationship. And I felt that within 2 years, okay, of having met this person, you would actually have a child. I feel 2 children are really strong here. For me, those 2 children coming through. I feel that this other relationship is going to happen within the space of around a year, okay? I feel that that person is in the balance. I really feel a very strong presence there. I feel that you'll get over this relationship. I think once you put the pieces together and you realize that you've been misled to some degree, the lack of honesty or the apparent dishonesty will be a catalytic kind of factor that will actually really help you to get over the hurdle of being disappointed or being let down. I think that there is love here and that there is some sort of resolution that needs to take place. But at the same time, I think you're also very sure about what you want for the future, and being with somebody who doesn't want those same things. It shows a total imbalance in a way where you're going to realize that this is not workable. It's certainly not sustainable, and that, moving forward and moving onwards is really the only way to go. So for me, within a 6-month period, that will happen. And then within a year, definitely having met somebody. And then within 2 years after that, pregnant and having your first child with an outlook of 2 children with that person. So I kind of feel that this is, like a difficult read on one level, but at the same time, confronting the issue at hand is really important, because if you don't, you're just wasting a lot of time and effort here. And I think you actually need to look after yourself. So look, I hope this reading has made some sense. And if it has, please feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you are interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card 2. This is your reading, and this is all about pregnancy today. So when are you getting pregnant? Let's have a look. Jump on in and thrash out the details first. Now, excuse me. I feel that leading up to this particular point here with strength and the 9 of Wands, I feel like, there's been a lot of questions around health. I get a sense that you felt really run down. I think you're very motivated with work. I feel like there's been a lot on your plate in terms of maybe your professional focus, whether that's work, study. I get that you're sort of a very, very highly creative type of individual. You take work very seriously. And I think that there's been a lot on your plate. And I just get a sense that you've been quite run down on one level. And when I say run down, I mean, I'm talking about in the context of pregnancy. For me, I just felt that there was like a bit of a struggle to find a place or a sense of balance as to, the opportunity to become pregnant. So it's something that's playing on your mind, that you want to become pregnant, but you've got a lot going on in the practical sense. So the creative opportunity to actually make it happen maybe hasn't availed itself. Down here at Wheel of Fortune and the 2 of Pentacles, my sense is that this is, for me, I feel like you're in and out of maybe either a relationship. I didn't feel like you were in a solid relationship with continuity. But I felt that you really liked it that way. I felt that there was somebody circling you in a way that there was a very good connection, but it's non-committal. It's very open-ended. It lands when it lands, it takes off when it takes off, it's there, it's not there, but it's very easygoing at the same time. I kind of feel like there's a very mutual understanding. I felt comfort there in that. I felt that there was somebody there for you if you really needed them, but at the same time with some distance, and I think you actually really like it that way. I think you're that kind of person. I really feel that you're a very open-minded individual. And I feel like you're this type of person that doesn't define yourself through relationships. A part of you is sort of saying, I don't need a relationship to have a child. I think there are reliability issues there for you on that particular level, but I'll come back more to that later. I think also you're sort of saying to yourself in the context of pregnancy, it's like you're saying there's more than one way to skin a cat. I don't need to have a relationship to have a child. I could do this on my own. I think you've been weighing up your options on many levels. You know, how do I do this? You know, how does it suit me? What's available to me? What are the risks involved? So there's been a lot of assessment going on, I think. And I wondered also, you know, maybe with this, you know, it's either another person who is sort of loosely in a relationship with you or at an arm's length, or there could be somebody who's a donor. You know, there's somebody who you feel is very attractive to you, somebody who's very much on the same level as you in terms of wanting to manifest a child into the world, you know, in a way that creates a really lovely opportunity for somebody like yourself that wants to be a part of it, but maybe at a distance. I just feel like there's a lot going on there. And, you know, look, it might be different for each of you. You know, it doesn't have to be all in one as a package. I'm just pulling threads here that I see and feel. I felt, if we come up here to the Magician and the Ace of Pentacles, I feel at the moment, really, you know, it's kind of all on the table for you. I think you're motivated to make this happen now. I kind of felt like there was money that had come through, and there was security to kind of take this forward in a way where you could actually bring it into a reality, you know, to manifest it. And, you know, the Magician is all about manifestation energy, and it sees the opportunity to actually make it happen. And you know, it's very much about that pulsation of tuning into something that's going on around you in a way where you feel that this is the right time. It's kind of, you know, a little bit instinctually driven, I feel. You know, maybe a sort of financial set of circumstances that have availed themselves in a way where you just feel like things are really solid in order to move this forward. So I kind of felt like the finances were in place, and that could mean lots of different things. You know, it could be the finances to have a child, maybe over the next, you know, just to feel the security of having some money in the bank so that you have everything that you need to kind of back you up on that level. It also could be about money in terms of the idea of taking things forward to kind of, you know, maybe engage, you know, like a donor at a technical level, or some kind of you know, alternative way of going around becoming pregnant. So that could be like a birth clinic, fertility clinic, you know, so you know, an IVF baby perhaps. I just feel that everything's on the table. You're looking at all of your options and kind of going, you know what, I'm here to make it happen. I feel like this is the right time. I have security behind me. But I feel the one thing that defines this is it's really about you doing this on your own shoulders. It's not about incorporating anybody else. I kind of felt that you were self-motivated to have a child. The one thing I also want to say, I question whether there might also be another child in the picture here. And for some of you, that I really do feel that actually is the case. I felt there was definitely a second child here for some of you, and that the considerations were about having another child to kind of balance that particular arrangement, that you really wanted to have two children that could kind of play off of each other and weren't too far apart in terms of maybe an age dynamic. I felt that was an important factor. I sense that for me, I felt, if we come down here to the Hermit and the Ten of Swords, I think a part of the reasoning for me in terms of what I feel here is that, you know, this idea of doing it on your own is really when you define what a relationship means to you, there's a really long history here of being let down by other people. I think you've been let down in a way where you've been betrayed by relationships, and it might not just be intimate relationships. I kind of feel that you have a very long history of some pretty savage experiences that have really wised you up as to what people can be really like. And I think that drives very deep into your psyche, and you're very self-protective in a way where you don't want to be exposed to those kinds of experiences. And I think you're also very protective of what that means to have a child. I think unreliable partners, in your mind can be really destructive. And I think you always expect the worst out of people because of the history that you have, because of the experiences that have actually indicated how people are. I think the thing is that maybe for some of you, if you already have had a child, that you've had exposure to a very difficult relationships for that first child, and that is something that you certainly wouldn't want for your second child. Or it might be that, if you haven't had another child, it might be that you just do not want those kinds of experiences that you've seen to be, something that you want your child to be exposed to. So there's a real self-protective and very sort of protective, nurturing quality here in terms of who it is that you are as a person. Yeah, so, I've got to be honest with you. At the same time, I think, it's not that this is a negatively focused trajectory at all, actually. It's more definitive of who you are as a person because of your history. And I don't think that you forecast or anticipate the worst necessarily. I think that you're just very wised up in a way where you're quite street smart as to what can and can't happen with people, and you're being practical. But I feel that a big part of who it is that you are is that you are self-empowered because you've actually learned how to do things in on your own. You're self-reliant, you're very motivated, you're very hands-on in the moment in a way where you just kind of seize opportunity, and you work very hard to make that happen. I kind of feel that you're a very professionally minded person. I think you're very highly creative. I definitely get like a very holistic feeling that comes through here. And I think you're open to lots of different opportunities. So I get a very open-minded individual. And very flexible. I think you're very easygoing with people. I think you're very sensitive to other people's needs. And I think there's a little kid at heart here for me as well. I think there's a part of you who is very empowered, very, you're not compliant or defined by conservative values. You're the complete opposite. For me, you're quite a renegade. I think that you are very progressive in your way of thinking. Your politics are really cool, and you've got creative talents. You're kind of out there. You're very energetic. I think the thing is, there's a real buzz about your personality, and you don't want to kind of fit into this sort of traditional setting or set of circumstances that suffocates your creative capacity, your creative ability. Down here with the High Priestess and the Page of Cups, there's a definite intuitive insight there. I think you're very sensitive on a level where that maybe you've got quite psychic capabilities. You really feel things out at an intuitive level. Highly creative energy is what I keep on picking up here. So for me, I think this is a really progressive, very forward thinking focus that is about making something happen in a way that's not conformed into being either dictated to by somebody in a relationship or having to be tied down to a situation where you don't feel like you have a sense of freedom. I think you just kind of want a bit more of an organic process here, and you're not saying no to anything either. I don't for a moment think that you're actually saying no to relationships, but I do find this idea of of maybe loosely being involved with somebody who gives you support, but at the same time is arm's length. I think that's very you as a person. And where's it all going? When are you going to get pregnant? I'll be honest with you. I kind of feel the next 6 months is a really important time, a very technical time. I kind of felt that things needed to be put into place at a kind of an official contractual level. I felt that there was some kind of transaction that would happen that would enable you to become pregnant. And maybe that actually has something to do with a donor. If it's not a donor, maybe it's something to do with like a birthing clinic where you're going into sort of like an IVF arrangement. My sense was there's some sort of technicality that needed to be finalized that gave clarity to your process, gave clarity to the situation, and also gave it a legality. I mean, justice is all about legalities. Ace of Wands is about new opportunities and creative energy birthing something new. So there's this sense that contractual clarity arises within 6 months, and you're signing on the dotted line to move forward to become pregnant. Okay. And for me, it's as simple as sort of flipping a switch. I kind of felt that clarity needed to take place before you could actually fall pregnant, but then I feel like you'll fall pregnant pretty much immediately. Yeah. So in 6 months' time, contractual clarity, and then within a year after that, I felt that you would have had a child. Okay. I felt that this was going to be a very holistic approach to being pregnant. I felt that could involve a midwife and a home birth. And I felt that this pregnancy was going to be really easy. Yeah, I think you'll fall pregnant very easily. And I think that the energy is going to be really buoyant throughout the period. So I don't get sickness. I don't get any... there's no sense of being overwhelmed. I kind of just feel like this really hits the ground running, in terms of the overall process. And, it's like you're ready for it. And it just happens very quickly, very easily. I felt that there was a lot of support here for you as well, both technically and socially. So I kind of felt the law was on your side. I felt that contractually, whatever it is that you're signing up for, that this was clear, and it gave it, again, this thing about empowerment comes through for me, because you are an empowered person and you would not put yourself into a situation unless you had the power to be able to determine what was right and wrong, so you need to be in control here. And I feel that this gives you the control that you're looking for. So yeah, again, I feel that this happens very quickly in 6 months' time, pregnant very quickly soon after. So obviously leading up to that particular point, a very transactional nature in terms of, really signing on the dotted line and making sure that everything is in place so that you can move forward. Down here to the High Priestess again and Page of Cups, felt that what was coming through here for me was a very female energy in terms of the future child, okay? So it doesn't mean that it has to be a girl. I just got a feminine energy. I really felt that was very, very strong. And I felt that this was going to be a really sort of, a very highly creative child that will unlock an enormous amount for you as far as your relationship with this particular child. I think that they're going to be very close with the second child, because I do feel that there's 2 children for you. And if you haven't already had the second child, or the first child, I'm sorry, there is definitely a second child in the balance for you. And I felt that these 2 children will be very, very close. This child's going to unlock something for you as far as your desire for a relationship. I felt that was really important. I just feel that there is something here that this child will teach you in terms of trust. I feel that this child is going to help you to reignite trust in people, in relationships. It's like the actions of this child will just give you some sort of reinforcement, some kind of sense of support. It'll help you to build faith in a way where I felt that you would be very open to the idea of having a more intimate relationship with somebody that would draw them close. And I also felt that perhaps actually what that would be about is that this idea of actually having an external influence that wasn't about support or security. It was actually about creative influence and this sense of opening up the dimensions of the world for your child, for your children, but also for yourself. And I feel like it will actually take you on to be more open about the idea of having a relationship with some. So I do feel that through this experience that there will be a relationship on the horizon in the future. Yeah, but that's much further down the line. It's probably another tarot reading as well. I feel overall here a really positive energy coming through. I don't feel that your past defines you. I don't feel like there's anything weighing you down, but I do feel that having another child or having a child will certainly teach you something new through that experience and open up a new dimension that you had not anticipated. But overall, I feel this is a really positive reading, very self-empowered. very clear, because that actually is reflective of who it is that you are as a person. And I hope this reading has made some sense. If it has, please feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. Plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card 3. This is your reading, and today we're looking at pregnancy and when that's going to happen. So cards are on the table. Let's jump on into this reading. Going to start over here with the Empress and the Queen of Pentacles, and I felt there was a really strong maternal or instinctual drive to have a child here. Quite an intense focus. My sense is that you've been really active in setting things up, and you've been the driving force to have a child in your partnership. I do feel you're in a relationship with somebody. And I think you're both on the same page in terms of having a child, but I think that you've been the driving force to bear a child. And I think you're kind of all over that in a lot of different ways. I think materially, practically, you've been really sort of driving aspects of putting life together in a way where everything's set up to have a child or to have children. Wanting to have certain things in place, security around finances, just like a really strong nurturing ground to have a kind of like, I want to say sacred space, because I do feel like it's really that important to you to make sure that everything's just right, really. That you have maybe a bedroom or a home or a set of circumstances that cross lots of different levels, just to make sure that it's all knitted together in a way where, everything's basically ship-shape, ready to go in terms of having a child. So lots of resources being focused on there. Lots of resources that have been spent, I would have said too. I kind of feel like you're the type of person that wants to spoil your child in some ways. You want them to have the best. So there's lots of preparation going on in setting up all of the stuff that you need to make sure that they have a very happy introduction into life. And I feel as a parent that you'll be like that as an ongoing, very attentive, really wanting to make sure that your child is in the nurturing arms of the greatest potential to be the best possible them. I wondered also here, for me, I kind of felt maybe also there was a bit of maybe a slight social pressure on one level. I kind of felt your mother or a mother figure, somebody who was involved in your life, so either your mother, literally, or somebody who is like a mother figure to you, who had a very important influence upon you. Maybe it's it's linking into generations here, just really wanting to give them that opportunity to sort of experience your child, to be a grandparent. I felt that for some reason that was actually a very important thread in the reading for me. It's generational. It's very important. I think it's about passing on history. It's about passing on legacy. It's about passing on knowledge and very nice stuff. But what underpins this reading for me in terms of the difficulty is I kind of feel down here with Death and the Four of Pentacles. I did feel that there was loss here. I felt for some of you that actually could be on multiple occasions. It might be that you've fallen pregnant and there's been a miscarriage. As an example, I kind of feel that there has been a number of times where you've become pregnant, but each and every time it just hasn't sort of hasn't sort of developed into a sort of full pregnancy that's gone in a direction that you would want it to go to. I mean, obviously there is loss involved there for me. I kind of feel that. I don't know if that's necessarily recent, but I felt there if it's not one, it's certainly more than one loss. I feel like the last 4 years for some reason has been really difficult for you as a person. There's just so many changes going on, and a lot of them have been really quite monumental and really difficult to come to terms with. Lots of change, lots of challenges. Weathering the storm comes through. I feel like you've been weathering but it's been really long and persistent, like it's a never-ending storm. At the same time, you've really stood your ground. You haven't given up. I kind of feel that you are a very sure person on one level. I think, I get pillar of salt coming through here. I feel that you are somebody that people do depend on. I think people tend to lean on you quite hard, actually. It's very strong backbone. You're very strong focused. You have a lot of clarity as well. I think you're a clear person. You really know. You know boundaries. You know what you like and know what you don't like as well. But I felt, coming back to the point of these two cards, I really felt that there was also maybe clinging to loss. That if you had a miscarriage or you had some sort of loss in your life, I've got to say to you also, it doesn't have to be pregnancy. It could be loss on lots of different levels. It could be family members, a friend, but it also could be a miscarriage as well. And I felt that there was a lot of fear about losing again. Like that you had lost on a number of occasions here, and there was a fear that there would be more loss. So it's almost like clinging to the loss that you've had, but also feeling really concerned about the fact that you could lose again. Up here to the Devil and the Ace of Wands, I really feel like there's been a lot of pressure on the relationship with the way things have been going. I feel that you had really been sort of really trying to have a child. There's a lot of pressure on having a child here. I felt like the subject had become a little bit difficult actually between the two of you. Maybe you're questioning whether your partner's really on board. Maybe there's some trust issues there. Faith in whether they're really on board with you about having this child. Maybe there's questions around that. I wonder whether your partner was pulling away a little bit in a way that made you feel just very, very uncertain. And I wonder also, for some of you, whether sex has also become all about the idea of conception. It's almost like the pressure to have to make and have a child has become first and foremost. The sex is kind of almost like a mechanical aspect of making that happen. It just becomes a sort of like a really pointed issue around, just wanting to have a child for the sake of having a child because that's what I want to do. But feeling maybe also that you're sort of losing your partner as in a part of that process. Down here to the Tower and Ace of Pentacles, I feel like there's been failed attempts at getting pregnant. It's been really difficult to handle. I felt that that's actually put more pressure on the relationship. I feel that I wonder whether there were some financial pressures there also around the idea of whether it was the right time to have a child now. Maybe your partner's having questions around that, wondering whether now is the right time, maybe that you should wait. And I kind of feel like that there's been quite a lot of pain involved with dealing around the issue as to whether it's a secure time to have a child now. I feel like an arrow is sort of going through your heart there. This has really sort of, been very painful for you at a very personal level. Maybe also you're looking at other ways to have a child as well. Maybe you're worried about the idea of not becoming pregnant naturally. Wondering whether there's different options on the table, looking at fertility clinics or alternative proven techniques that might be able to sort of, expedite the process of becoming pregnant. So a lot going on here. I kind of feel that you've been super focused on the idea of having a child, that it's very instinctual. It's a difficult feeling when that happens because, that's not something you can necessarily control in your mind. It's really coming from a sort of a more primal level. And so that idea of just wanting to do it now, feeling like it's the right time, but then at the same time, there's been a lot of issues around you that have clouded the idea of having a kid. Maybe to do with miscarriages or, the loss of somebody close to you and sort of multiple situations that have been very confronting and caused a lot of change in your life. And I feel like, there's been a lot for you to deal with. I feel like there's definitely been a lot of pressure in the relationship, questioning whether maybe the relationship is in the right place just at the moment, trust issues around whether your partner's completely on board with this. And I feel because it's so important to you, if you got a sniff of the idea that your partner wasn't fully on board with you, that would be really difficult to deal with, because obviously this is really weighted with emphasis in terms of it being really personal and important to you as a person, and you would want that to be shared in your partnership. I feel like this, up ahead, we're sort of moving into the future now. Over here with the Sun and the Queen of Swords, I feel like there's a grieving process that needs to take place here. I feel like there's some more space that's required to distill heartache, maybe from your partner, from pulling back a little bit, maybe also from what's happened in the past, this idea of loss, coming to terms with that. I think also coming to terms with what you really want for yourself in terms of having a child as well. I know that this is what you want, but at the same time, I kind of feel, if you're cutting away all of the attachment to this and you're just going through this process in a very natural way, it's really just about being in the moment. And I kind of feel, I feel in some ways that, there's this sense that you feel very alone, that you're feeling really isolated, that you, in some ways, actually do need some support. You're always the person that is there for everybody else. You're the backbone for everybody else's troubles. You're the one that everybody turns to when things go wrong. Yet at the same time, you've had so many things that have actually gone wrong for you on sort of a number of levels, that I think you're good at looking after other people. You're very good at looking after yourself, but at the same time, I don't know that you're really letting anybody in to be there for you at a heart level. I think you've actually got some very strong boundaries, and it's easy for you to deal with this alone, in a very concise and efficient way, but I just don't feel that there's necessarily any comfort there for you in a way that gives you the care and the love that you actually need to be able to get through this more holistically. And a part of what's going on in terms of the dynamic maybe in your relationship is more of a sense of a separation than there is actually about being together on the same page. I feel that that's actually really important. But I've got to say to you that I feel like for the next 2 months, there actually is some resolution taking place here as far as some healing for you is concerned. I feel like the relationship down here with Temperance and the Two of Pentacles, I feel like the relationship is actually really getting back to base in a way where you're back on board with each other. It's kind of like finding the flow again. Just much more reciprocal, and there's a greater sense of give and take as far as the way you're dealing with each other. I kind of feel like you're back on a heartfelt level. I feel like you're receiving your partner in a way that just is more connected at a level that feels really human and present, which I've already said before. I kind of also felt that a big part of the process that you're actually going through over the next 2 months is actually bringing it back to the relationship as opposed to making it just about the mechanics to have a child. So it's almost like finding the love that you have for each other in a way where you're actually putting each other first. You're not putting the idea of having a child first. I gotta be honest with you. I felt that within this next year that you actually would be pregnant. I get a really strong twin energy coming through here. Okay, so I don't know whether anybody's ever prepared to have twins, but I kind of felt that was a very strong potential in terms of the next year falling pregnant and actually having twins. Okay, if it's not having twins, I felt that you would actually be pregnant within this year. So within this sort of 9 to 12 months period, you would be pregnant, and then you would obviously have a child, like 9 months later. If it wasn't twins, it was having the first child within the next year, and then another child would happen very quickly after that, within the space of another year. So I kind of felt that the sequence was very close, one way or the other. I felt that the children, okay, that there was, I definitely get a male and a female energy coming through here. I felt that both of these children would look really similar to each other though. And their nature, the nature of who it is that they are, they're like peas of a pod. They follow through in very similar ways. They have a lot in common. They get along really, really well. The look and feel is really very similar. I mean, they're obviously going to be very different people, but at the same time, I just kind of feel that the bond is incredibly close, very strong, very spiritual. I think they'll be linked in, whether they're twins or not. I think they'll be linked in a way where they will follow each other throughout their lives together. They'll have this very strong bond. I felt that as a family unit, that you would all be very, very close. This would be very intimate with your kids in a way where you share an enormous amount, lots of give and take. I also felt, can I be honest with you, there's another thread here that feels very strong, and that is around financial security. I kind of wondered whether there had been some challenges to do with financial security for some of you, and whether things were in a difficult place on that level. I feel that things will get better if that's the case, and that's a part of the resolution that also needs to happen to underpin this idea of having kids. But definitely within the space of the next year, there will be twins or the first child followed by another child 1 year later. I can see that you're a very strong-minded person, and I kind of feel that a part of what you need to do here is also to let go and to find some healing. Look, I hope this reading has made some sense to you, and if it has, please feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you are interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card number 4. This is your reading, and today we're looking at pregnancy and exciting stuff. Yeah, we've got the cards on the table and we're ready to jump on in. Up here at the Sun and Queen of Cups, and definitely, a love of children is what comes through first and foremost in this reading. I feel like you're somewhat of a child whisperer in a way. It's like you've got a bit of a talent there with kids. You're very good with them. A bit of a magic touch. I think you know what kids are all about at all different levels of all different ages, and you get them. And I think the thing is that you can actually get down onto their level in a way where you just interact very naturally. Kids are very drawn to you. I kind of feel like you would be the sort of parent where if you had kids, all of the friends of your kids would want to come and hang out at your house. You'd be like I don't know if it's about being the cool mum or the cool dad. It's not about being a cool parent figure. It's more about, I think kids just are very, very comfortable with you. There's a nurturing quality comes through that's very genuine, very loving, very attentive. I would have said for some of you that possibly you work with kids. That could be in teaching, like in a school, maybe working in a creche or a kindergarten. Maybe you're drawn to babysitting for other people's kids in a way where everybody loves to dump the kids on you because they know that they'll be safe and sound. I think it's the patience that really works for you on that particular level. So a love of kids, and yeah, as I say, it's like being a child whisperer. Not everybody's great at, being a parent. Not everybody's great with kids. And I think it's about getting down on their level in a way where you're just engaged in a very interested way that I think is more than nurturing as well. I think you're also there for their welfare and also for their development and learning. A lot of parents are, but for me, I just feel that there is something very natural here in terms of your connection to children. Down here with the Hermit and the Ace of Wands. Now, I feel like this idea of having children is very long-standing. It's like a lifetime thing. I think maybe it goes right back into childhood. just a natural nurturing quality, maternal or paternal. It's the instinct has always been sort of kicking around in the background. And I feel like a lot of things have gotten in the way in your adult life, though. It's just been one thing after another. Lots of distractions, particularly around work. And I think at times this has just gotten in the way of you achieving the goal of wanting to have kids. I question whether, for some of you, whether there's an age thing going on here. The hermit is a long distance of time. I wonder whether, for some of you, you're actually getting older. And, the fact that you hadn't had children by now was becoming a concern, and there was that sense of urgency. I felt a sense of urgency on timing here for the idea of having kids. If it's not that you're older, it's just that sense of like, I've been waiting long enough to have kids and I want to have them now. So a long-standing desire and a sense of urgency or gravity to kind of realize that goal in a way. There has been some complications for you as a person, just in terms of your circumstances with regards to becoming pregnant. I'm down here at Death and the Knight of Cups, and I feel that actually, in the not too distant past, that there's been a relationship breakup with somebody who you've been really in love with. And I feel that this person has left you sort of hanging high and dry on, like it's just in terms of the relationship, but certainly on the idea of kids. I felt, that this relationship had enormous promise, and that it was going in a direction where you felt you were really going to settle down with this person in a way where, a family was definitely on the cards. And I feel that person, was on board with that. I felt perhaps that the other person has broken this relationship off with you in a way that's been very confronting, because it's kind of crushed you at a heart level. I still feel love from you for this person, and I feel that you haven't quite gotten over them. And it's more than sort of that feeling of a crushed heart. It's actually about a crushed dream, because, wrapped up in the idea of this person was not only your heart, but the idea of having this life that you really wanted, which links into the idea of having kids. So a lot of promise here that's failed you, and I feel that you're really in the mix of it right now. Like it's all on in terms of just a lot of dust has been kicked up in the air, and I think you're trying to sort of sift through your feelings with this person. I feel that you're trying to sift through the transition period of being so unearthed at a core level about all of the other stuff in terms of having kids as well. So this is big for you, because, the thing is this is what you've always wanted in terms of having children. And, so I kind of feel that, like a lot of what's been going on for you with the idea or the motivation to have a relationship is definitely about the idea. It's not to say that it's not to say that that's not for a lot of people, but for you, it's a big priority. And so I kind of feel like this is very tough. And on top of that, you do love this person still. So yeah, like this is very difficult. But, and this is what I find this reading quite interesting, because there's a flip side here. I feel like you've also met somebody who's kind of swept you off your feet at the same time. So you've kind of got all this stuff going on. I feel that this person has entered into your life, and it's been very fast paced. Yeah, kind of love at first sight. This person has the maturity and the sophistication that this previous relationship just did not have to sustain, a long-term commitment. And I feel that this person is very smitten with you. They're really taken by you, but they're playing it really cool. And I think that they can be really hard to read as a consequence. So they're kind of in there, and they're feeling really like, into you in a way where, they want to kind of, go for it, but at the same time, I think maybe they're wary of your circumstances and where you've been, and they don't want to pressure you. So they're kind of giving off this, really cool vibe that sort of distracts or detracts from what they're really feeling. And so I don't feel like they've been articulating where they're really at with you in terms of how they feel or their ability to kind of like have a conversation with you that gets serious in terms of projecting into the future. because you're going through a big experience that's very personal to you, and I think that they are just very mindful and very caring, actually, to not want to encroach upon your space, to overcrowd you or overwhelm you in a way where they just want to let you kind of, deal with what's going on. And I feel that for you that's quite difficult because you're not reading them at a deeper level. It's like they're playing it so cool that you just can't quite get a grab on how does they really feel, and it comes across maybe as a little bit disinterested, maybe a little bit arrogant even at some points. I mean, the Fool can be aloof and just not so involved in a way where you feel that it's going anywhere. They're kind of doing their own thing, so to speak. But I can assure you that this person is sitting behind the line and kind of, observing you very, very wholeheartedly, very, very intently. I feel that this person's really taken by you in a way where there is some very evolved, mature feelings. I feel like it's love, and I feel like it's actually a mutual thing. I'll be honest with you. I feel like this is a mutual thing. I think what this is saying to me, though, is that there is some difficulty in reconciling circumstances of the past, in terms of the past relationship, but also there is this idea of really wanting to have a child now, and it's like, if you sort of get involved with this person, is it going to go somewhere that actually gives you what it is that you want? And you don't want to really be in their face in a way where you're putting them off. You don't want to scare them off, because at the end of the day, you can't read them so well because they're not giving you a lot of really clear signs. But if you start talking about kids now, it's like, wow, you might miss the boat. So you kind of want to be on board with this relationship in a way that it's sort of like heading in the direction towards your values, the idea of settling down and having a family, but at the same time, you don't want to scare them off. But, then when you factor in this sense of urgency about wanting to have a kid, it becomes really difficult to navigate. Now, where is this all going? Because it's actually quite heady, I kind of feel that your feet really haven't touched the ground on quite a number of levels here. You've got the previous relationship where you're really trying to reconcile still, because you've still got a lot of feeling for this person, and that really needs to be ironed out in a way where you're clear. And then you've got this person who swept you off your feet and, is showing you enormous promise of a potential future. And yet you just don't know where it's all going. I feel that there's a crunch time, coming up on the horizon sooner than later. Within the next month, a conversation is going to be had with this new person that you've met, and it needs to be had. I think it's conversation actually telling this person how does you really feel about them. So the gravity and the seriousness and of the relationship, I guess, in terms of its evolution, really comes to the forefront. The reality is that you are in love with this person, and this person is in love with you. And I think that is something that you really need to take to heart in a way that supports you. That feeling is not elusive. That feeling is actually apparent. If you tune into it, you'll see it, you'll feel it. And it's a very spiritual connection. So I kind of feel you need to have some confidence there, but at the same time, don't rush. There's no need to be impatient. You do have time. I feel that the conversation will come about in a way where you will actually put it on the table. It's like, this is what I want. I want to have kids. Judgment, the 10 of Cups. It's like, I want to have children. This is a really serious thing for me. I feel like time's running out and I want to get this started sooner than later. Where do you stand with that? This person's going to be on board. They want the same thing as you. They want to be with you first and foremost, but the idea of family is something that's definitely on the cards for them. So I feel that this is a kind of like a next level situation, but I feel that also at the same time, I just need to come back and say, just be patient with yourself. You're still coming to terms with some really big stuff, in terms of being let down by a past relationship. Give yourself some healing time. Give yourself some space. Let the dust settle so that it becomes clear in terms of drawing a line under your past so that you can move forward more confidently into your future. The last thing you want to do is just rush into something and drag a whole lot of feeling and connection to something that actually hasn't been tied off in your past with this new person. I felt in terms of the timing with the idea of becoming pregnant. Now hold on to your hats, okay? Because I've got some really strong feelings on this. my sense is that you're, making a commitment within this next 6 to 12 months with this person in a very serious way. And I feel like things are going to move very quickly into the idea of becoming pregnant. I felt that in around 6 to 9 months' time that you actually would be pregnant with a first child. I feel that, fertility is not an issue. I kind of feel that you are so receptive to having kids. It's really going to be a case of it happening very, very quickly. I felt that, so for me, in around 6 to 9 months, definitely falling pregnant, and there is a first child, but I got to be honest with you, I feel that there is going to be a total of 3 kids here in terms of a timeline, and I feel that actually will be in very close succession. So it'll be your first child, and then maybe about 12 to 18 months later, another child, 12 to 18 months later, another child. I felt a total of 3 children. I kind of feel that this is a very fast timeline in terms of becoming pregnant and having 3 children. I feel like the fertility is there. I feel like the timing is there. And I feel like the pregnancy with the first child is going to be really, really, really easy. There's something very natural about you. I don't know if this would be a home birth. I felt this was more a clinical setting, maybe somewhere halfway between a hospital and a home birth setting. For me, that could be like a birthing center, like a birthing clinic with a midwife, but I feel this is going to be a really happy pregnancy for each of these children. I felt that there was a lot of support there for you, and I wondered whether you actually had somebody who was really close to you, like either your mother or a mother figure who was really behind you in this idea of growing a family, being there for you in a way that gave you a lot of support, both materially, but practically. I kind of felt that there were people around you, that person in particular, but also other people around you that were really going to make this a very supportive process. And I'm going to be honest with you, I need to touch base on this previous relationship. I felt that the relationship would resolve to a large degree in a way where you actually stayed friends. I feel that this person will become a friend and a support for you and your new partner into the future. I feel that this person feels very sorry about what it is that they've done. They know that they've let you down at that level of wanting to have kids. They're very sorry that it's actually come to that particular place. But, things have happened the way they've happened because they had to happen. It wasn't about anything else other than this really very naturally coming to an end in a way where you've got to move on. Because I feel that the new relationship that you're actually moving into is one that is incredibly evolved and very sophisticated at a heartfelt level. I feel like you've got a very spiritual connection. I feel that this is going to be a really beautiful match in terms of 2 parents having kids for the future. So I hope this reading has made some sense, and if it has, feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon, that'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you are interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care.